Everybody, welcome to the Beaufort County Transportation Committee meeting of May 18th, 2022. We have roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman? Mr. McCain?
Yes, Mayor.
Mr. Glover? Ms. Kozak? Thacker?
Here.
Mr. Forrest?
Here.
Mr. Manning?
Here.
Mr. Gordon?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Sellers?
We have a quorum. It's customary to go around the room and introduce yourselves. Jared, we'll start with you.
Jerry Freitas, Assistant County Administrator of Engineering.
Eric Clausen, Director of Engineering.
Brian Bauer, Transportation Construction Manager.
Carol Currier, Executive Assistant Director. Brady Bills, Capital Projects Coordinator for Beaufort County.
Kelly Gorsuch, City of Beaufort.
Richard Turner, A&T Engineer.
Stephanie Moxie, Low Country Cog.
Thank you. All right, shall we all rise for pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think I know everybody here. Unless Carol, you have something to say, I don't think we have a public comments necessary today. Okay. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes for March 17th, 2021. They were submitted to you about a month ago. Anybody have any changes, corrections, or objections? Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval?
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Come on up, lady. We got room for you. I kind of made a little bit of a change to our agenda today because I think it's relevant. There's been some changes under Jared's watch. We've had some retirements over the last month and things have been moving around as far as staff and so on. So I thought it would be beneficial if we could have kind of an introduction to your new team and everything that's going on associated with the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chairman Gordon. Committee, appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you all. As Chairman Gordon mentioned, we have had some changes, some that are a little harder to part with, some people that left, Andrea being one of those, and then but a few new fresh faces for you guys. So inside infrastructure division, which is what I'm over, is 6 departments. So there's capital projects, transportation engineering, facilities management, public works, airports, and solid waste. So a lot going on there. And Andrea has had her sights on setting sail for a little while, but she's been an outstanding player in helping us. Look, I'm not leaving you guys high and dry. This is my anticipated leave date. Let's try to figure out how we can come up with a succession plan. So with a known hole coming, we had an opportunity to make a good plan, and she was very helpful in that. So with that, we recognize, all right, if we have one kind of open hole, does it make sense to kind of relook at what we have? And if any of you guys have been in management, which probably a lot of you have, having a lot of folks come and reporting to you is very challenging at times. Not that I have a bad group, my group's excellent, but thought maybe there's opportunity for consolidation, and let's make some responsibilities a little bit larger for those directors. In other places, let's see if we can get more efficient with our structure. So we took a look at that and said, you know what, instead of engineering, what about if we combine where a lot of our projects come from internally? So in capital projects and facilities management and transportation. So we said, all right, Andrea, if you're leaving, this gives us the opportunity to look at that. So we did that, and we advertised, and that's where now Eric Clausen is now our Director of Engineering. So he is Director of Engineering with all 3 of those parts underneath. Concurrently, we moved solid waste under Public Works. And so that kind of was in solid waste, or solid waste was in public works before. So we thought that was fitting, and there should be some efficiencies internal to public works there. So, so now we kind of have three. We have airports, engineering, and public works. So it's a little bit more flat right there throughout the engineering division, and a lot of exciting opportunities. One other person that left is Elizabeth McMillan, our administrative assistant. So we're in the process of advertising that. So right now, Carol is standing in and helping out, as well as Brittany, in the administrative role here for CTC. So hopefully we'll have that position filled here shortly. With Andrea leaving, we also had been advertising for a project manager. And so it just so happens that we reached out, and Brian's done a lot of work for us in the past as F&ME. And there was an opportunity for us to ask him to come along with us, and he accepted that. So it just so happened we lost one and picked up two in the process. So we're still short staffed, have a lot going on, but really excited about the new players. Just a little bit about Eric. I guess I could let you talk rather than me tell them about you, but that way they get to know you a little bit more.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, Eric Clausen. So I've spent my career, Iowa State grad. I grew up in the Midwest. Shortly after graduation, I went and worked for Missouri Department of Transportation for about 3 years, and then City of Springfield, Missouri for just about 15. So I did everything from I was project engineer, city traffic engineer, public works director. Had an opportunity to move to Nags Head, North Carolina a year ago. Went out there and served as the public services director for town of Nags Head. It's beautiful, beautiful place, but a little isolated in the wintertime. So I've got, I'm married, have two girls, one 13, the other one 10. So this was always a destination that we really wanted to be. My wife spent some time in Charleston just shortly after we were married, so we knew Low Country was always the destination that we wanted to be. So saw the opportunity come available, and reached out to Jared, and everything just happened the way it was supposed to. So I'm excited to be here, excited to build upon the past successes. No, Andrea's, it's tough to fill that role that Andrea had. But again, we'll try and we'll continue on with the success that the department has had.
Thank you.
And Brian, if you want to give us a quick introduction.
Chairman, committee. So many of y'all may know I came from F&ME on the consultant side. I've come and spoke to you a couple times about paving preservation and the evaluations we're doing for the county roadway. So I'm pretty familiar with for several of the county projects. It's got big shoes to fill with Andrea, but I hope to continue the relationship that she's built with you all and with other contractors in the area. But with F&ME, worked on the dirt roads, some of the resurfacing programs for the county. I'm from Beaufort. Originally grew up here, went to college at Clemson, so hopefully bring a little bit of a local perspective and knowledge to things going on in the county.
Okay. Any questions for the committee? Welcome aboard, all of you, and congratulations, Jared. You're keeping things moving and restructuring, and that's all great. Hopefully it does make life a little easier for you.
Thank you very much, Joseph.
We're going to move into old business. And are you going to step in for Greg Moore?
No, Greg is online.
Okay. Greg?
Chairman Gordon, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. There you are.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, I've been up in Charleston today at the district office doing some meeting with the other residents across District 6, along with Tim Henderson and Daniel Barton and the staff up here, doing some long-term planning and that kind of thing, and trying to create some more efficiencies within the district. But I wanted to make sure I can still update y'all, so I'm actually sitting in the district office right now to just go through this out last week, and so I will send you, Chairman, my notes from the slide deck I'm presenting from today. I could not get them over to Brittany soon enough. But a lot of the projects are still the same as the past month, and I'll go through these. Please, again, stop me at any point if you got any questions. if you need a clarification. And as always, if there's something I don't have the answer for right away, need a status on something, please let me know and I'll get that back to you as soon as I can. Going down through here, we've got project ID 0754230. This is the traffic safety improvements down on US 278. They are progressing through here. They've been doing road clearing. They've started laying pipe and catch basins through a couple of different intersections on 270. I'm not going to get into the weeds of which intersections exactly. I will highlight for you that there are some revisions to the original plans. One being on Hilton Head National Drive, since y'all are aware that road no longer exists in between 278 and Bluffton Parkway. So essentially what's going to happen there is they're essentially going to delete those turn lanes and add seating back into where those turn lanes are coming out of. So they're not really doing the original scope since there is no longer a road there. There is also an additional revision to the design. We have not confirmed what exactly the scope is going to be yet down at Squire Pope because of our lane reversals for hurricane season on 278. They weren't exactly kosher what was designed with what is necessary for the lane reversal. So we are currently working through what the change to the road alignment is going to be right there and what the pavement markings are going to be. Any questions on that project?
You're good.
All right. 0761610 is a new award. This is on 278 again. This is the 278 Business Resurfacing. This got awarded to APAC, who is the same contractor that's doing the 278 toll road conversion. This project has not started. I don't have a start date for this yet. But it will be starting up soon. They're trying to tie up some loose ends they've got on other job sites right now so we can set up a pre-construction meeting. So that one is forthcoming. Does anyone have any questions on that, on the general concept of that? That project is two different separate segments of 278.
I think you're good.
All right. This last one's in closeout. This is 0790940. This was the intersection safety improvements at the Walmart at 21 North and SC 170 over by the Walmart here in Beaufort. The contractor was able to finally finish the ADA crosswalk out in front of Walmart. And so that one is finally in closeout completely and no remaining scope. 565-3051. This was a road rehabilitation CMRB project. Resurfacing. This one is complete inside of Beaufort County. The only punch list work we have left is down in Jasper County, so I'm not going to bother y'all with that. One of high interest to everybody is 565-6260. Their work remaining on this one is what everyone's familiar with out on Parkway and Hunting Island State Park. They have gone through pulled surface. They have been putting in the rumble strips on the edge of the roads on Sea Island Parkway. I know they're getting ready to do some final paint striping out there. So hopefully Sea Island Parkway is about to get better with the exclusion. I'm going to put this omission in here. We were not able to time it right to be able to pull and do the work for the last half mile out to the Fripp Island Bridge at the same time as the current contract. We are still working on mobilizing that and having that work done in the very near future. I believe I actually have a pre-con meeting for that next week. Don't hold to that, but I believe that is happening next week to try and get that one moving so that the contract completion for the existing work on Hunting Island is still in July, and the intent is still to have that work out to the Fripp Island Bridge done before that completion date. So I will say also the inside of Hunting Island State Park, has seen a drastic improvement from what everyone's been used to for the last number of years. So they are still, the park is still making various improvements as we go along, and we have underruns in one line item, so they're adding scope in to get the maximum bang for their buck on their money there. So I think Hunting Island overall is getting a drastic improvement right now that I think the county will be very happy with at the end. 565990. This is another road rehabilitation project. We've got a couple roads within Beaufort that are still in progress and a little bit of CMRB. This should be getting completed within the next month and a half. I don't have exact dates on these. This is kind of a moving target for me based upon the supply chain on cement and CMRB contractors right now. So I wish I had a more definitive timeline on when that work was going to get done. I just don't have that right now. And then 5658090 is another road preservation project. That one is in closeout. We've done the final inspection and the punch list on that one. So the last project that I've got is actually the one I just finished talking about, out to the Fripp Island Bridge within Beaufort County. Again, that one has just over 5 miles of roads. And that is all the Beaufort County projects I have. The other projects, I don't have a update for y'all today for the toll road conversion. I know it's moving along. I was actually with the resident engineer for that job today with me at the district office. But next meeting, I will try and have y'all a more detailed update for that.
Yeah, I would hope that by our next meeting, you would have locked in the 2023 projects that you'll be performing.
I know I've got some stuff coming in 2023. And I'll be able to line out a couple of things on the horizon. I know I've still got some moving targets. Just based on the way that headquarters is letting work. But no, I should be able to give an idea of some of the work that is supposed to be coming.
That would be great.
Right.
And you'll be getting us slides to Brittany so that they can be passed out to the committee?
Yeah, sir, I can send that to you.
That'll be great. Anybody have questions? I didn't include on the agenda, kind of intentionally, because there's some things going on that was kept a little quiet. Elizabeth Penn Sanders is going to have a baby tomorrow. And so she wasn't able to be here. Did you happen to bring a list for us? Did she?
Maybe out there, right on the list.
Where is it?
She took all the copies.
Jenny, pass those listings down, please.
I
Thank you.
didn't know, I just picked up whatever, whatever's lying around, I always just pick up.
Did you do it?
I looked and-
What I'm having passed out is that we have worked heavily with DOT in the past, having them come up with 2 years in advance of their paving and resurfacing projects. And so I didn't have an agenda item per se in it because I didn't know whether I was going to be able to get the list or not. But the bottom line is that this is the proposed projects for 2023 and 2024. The ones which you see on the listing as ones, they are locked in, so to speak, but none of the projects that occur for DOT will happen until they go before the commission. Next month, the commission meets, and the commission will basically approve the projects for DOT's work for next year, 2023. And then you see the listings for what they're projecting for 2024. You had questions concerning this, Mark, and I just maybe it helps with a little bit of that as well. Any questions, comments? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on. Thanks, Greg. And thanks for running this for us. Appreciate that very much. Dirt road paving contract 52 and 53 update. Brian?
All right, thank you, Chairman. So we have two dirt road programs currently going on, 52 and 53. 52 is paving 4 roads. Whitcliffe Road over off Paris Island Gateway has been paved, so we just need to do punch list walk and get that to the contractor. Wright Place and Hill and Head is under construction now. They are hoping to have that ready for asphalt by the end of the month. And then Harrison Island, David Green are still waiting on OCRM permits to come in so they can begin work on that. They've been following up with that pretty regularly and still have not received those. So as soon as they can get those permits, they'll schedule those 2 roads.
Any pushing you can do with them?
I'm sorry?
Any pushing you can do with those CRM?
I think everyone that can has been pushing on them to get them. So, but we will continue pushing to see what we can get.
We're not forgetting you, John.
I was getting ready to mention, but that's okay. No problem. Please don't.
Yeah, everyone's been pushing, from us to the designers to everyone has been trying to get those as fast as possible. So we'll keep pushing on it and see what we can do. And then 53, the contract is 3 roads, Twickenham, Northview, and Rainbow, awarded to J.H. Hires. They have been issued notice to proceed, and the survey and the preliminary drainage design is underway with those. So hopefully they'll probably be on schedule similar to what 52 is, and go into construction probably next spring, summer.
I'm not throwing you under the bus, but at one point in time, Twickenham was considered to be gravel. Is it going to be gravel or is it going to be paved?
I'm going to check on that, but I believe it's going to be paved. I'm not aware of any that are going to be gravel.
It is going to be. Jared shaking his head up and down because it was gravel for quite some time.
But so that is 52 and 53. Unless
All
there's
right.
any other questions.
I got a question. J.D. Washington.
I'm sorry.
J.D. Washington
Okay.
Road, supposed to have been.
That one's in year 5. So we're,
Depending on which area you're talking about.
well, so the 52 and 53, 53 is basically year 3, 52 is basically year 2. So year 4 are the Defusky Island roads and year 5 is the remaining roads, and JD Washington's in that group. So we're going to put out a RFP similar to that. And so right now it's 2 years away. But if there's ways for us to accelerate that, we will look into it.
I would appreciate that because when I came on this board about 5 years ago, that was the first road that I put in. And every year it goes.
Absolutely. Well, we've had a 5-year paving program and it's been on that 5-year list. It's been in year 5 the whole time. So it hasn't moved. It's just been 5 years in the making to get to that point. So it's on the list. It hasn't moved and we're not moving any projects up and down on the list. It's just, we're only in year 3 right now.
Since you're talking about that, you have a contract currently looking for the next 5-year plan.
That's correct. So, so right now we have years 1 through 5. We did an evaluation, I guess, 4 years ago. We're entering into the 4th year right now. So now's the time to prepare for years 6 through 10. So we have a contract already signed with a consultant that's starting that reevaluation work. And then we're going to have a year 6 through 10. So as soon as we're done with year 5 and JD Washington, we'll move straight into 6 through 10.
Yeah, I would like to see J.D. Washington before I leave.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We're getting there.
Stay tuned. That's
right.
all you have to do. Stay tuned.
That's
You
right.
know it'll happen sometime.
That's right. Well, yeah, so there's hopefully there's other funding that could be available. And if so, we're going to try to get as many roads done as possible.
Have that brother of yours open up his wallet and put some money on the table.
That's right.
Help move it along.
Speaking of that, Chairman, I saw the one penny tax that they're proposing was for county dirt road paving.
That's
How
correct.
does that correlate with what we do?
It will, Jared's been shepherding this.
Yeah, I can answer
Well, yeah, I
that,
asked that.
and Mr. Forrest could probably answer that for you as well. So the dirt road paving
In general.
is, and Chairman Gordon, if you want me to give a 2-minute update on the sales tax, I can do that if that's
Please
helpful.
do.
So sales tax, DOT, County Council commissioned a citizen advisory board in February to evaluate the opportunity for a sales tax in November 22. So a group of 17 members came together, representing all the county districts and all the municipalities, and we met, I think, 11 times, Craig, to discuss what those opportunities look like. So all in all, they just made a presentation to public facilities on Monday, and then again on this coming Monday at county council meeting. What's proposed is a 1-cent sales tax for a period of 10 years, which would have a raise of capital of approximately $700 million. Out of that $700 million, it's kind of broken into 2 stages. So specific projects like a SC 170 widened capacity project, as well as program projects. So dirt road paving is a program project. In that paving program, they have, I believe it's 50 million or 60 million, somewhere in that nature, program towards that. And several other programs like safety and pathways and different things on that kind of second, the 2 different parts, the specific and the program project.
How are they picking up their dirt roads?
So the goal, right, it didn't get down that far as how the mechanics would work. So that's something staff's going to be working on in the coming months. So there'll be a plan in place, but the goal, similar to what we have right now, is to have a criteria, and hopefully with dirt road paving, we use the same criteria that we have and just load more money into it so we can load more projects into the hopper. So the same ranking system that we already have, and just keep on going down the list.
Is it actually, it's all fully outlined. There's a new article in the Beaufort Gazette right now.
Yep.
So it goes into all the detail.
And I want to apologize to you, Jenny and Craig, because I'm the dirty guy that was the guy that they came to and asked about who's some people that should be appointed to this committee, and I'm the guy that put your names up for it. So you can beat me up after the meeting.
3 months later, we're meeting every week.
That's all right.
Sorry about that, lady.
Yep.
I'm the guy that I probably recommended 4. I've recommended 4 people, and so that's how that all played out. And that, Brian, that should help us from that standpoint, help the dirt road program, because we're doing the year 6 through 10, so they'll have established criteria. And bear one thing in mind, and I say this not digressing, but the reality is that we're going to wind up with a bunch of dirt roads that aren't going to be paved, and they're never going to be paved. And there's people that, as John has ran into and knows better than anybody else in this committee, how many roads he's went to, and people will not give up the right of way to have dirt roads paved. And we're getting to that point. My projection is within 2 years, no more than 3, that paving program will probably stop.
So that's the biggest impediment it's been, is right of ways.
Yes. And the other thing that, if you recall, and I'll ask you to go back, we have another thing that we've been dealing with in the county for some time, and it's called legacy roads. These are roads which the county doesn't own and have maintained for a long period of time. They put graders on it and grade it and take care of the roads. And that has become a very serious issue. I had a meeting with the county administrator a couple of weeks ago, and as you know, it's in our packet. We have resolution 15 and 17, which puts out some pretty specific things about bringing roads into the county network. And it came, and what work they will do on legacy roads as well. And I think they got it to the point, the work that they're going to do on legacy roads. And I'm not speaking for them in any way, shape, or form, But the criteria appears to be emergency, and that emergency is defined as they go in and take a chainsaw and cut a tree that's fallen over, push it to the side, and the road's back to the people that own it. So those are things that are very much in play going on.
I have a question to ask, and this is on the dirt road. There's some houses that are located that are not part of our county system.
Mhm.
And they have problem getting emergency vehicle to those people, you know? Even the fire department, the Beaufort County Emergency. Is there I mean, how do we handle that? I mean,
John, this is going to sound harsh, but they have a choice. They could donate the right of way and have the roads taken care of and be part and not have to worry about the roads if they did that. But these people have chosen to have their own private dirt roads, no different than we have subdivisions that have dirt roads in them as well. And so the county can't go in and maintain dirt roads for a subdivision. We have subdivisions in Bluffton that are all dirt road, but they made that choice. They made the choice. And the same thing is going on with the people that you're describing. They've made the choice. If they want county services and so on, they should be donating the right of way. And that should be your argument with them. If you want the services, provide the right of way and the roads will get either gravelled or paved. I'm not taking a hard line, but it's reality.
no, it is reality.
And it's in your binder. It's in your binder. It's in our transportation plan. Resolution 15 and 17 establish how that is all handled. And it's very concise. Okay, we got a little off script. We'll get things back in order here. We're going to move up to Jared on South Carolina 170.
All right, SC 170. So as I spoke to you guys before, we are moving forward, the county's moving forward on a near-term project list. So we have a study that gave us a full assessment of the 4.5 mile segment from 278 up to 462. It has a total cost of about $80 million of widening the 6 lanes as well as some intersection improvements. However, they did break that down in the bite size. And we have about a $3 million program or project set aside for some short-term pinch points. So intersection improvements at 5 major intersections along that corridor. So we're moving forward. Our plans have been submitted to DOT on that. So we're awaiting their comments and review. We've coordinated with Jasper County and with City of Hardyville on an IGA to how we're going to pay for that $3 million. Jasper County has signed that IGA, and Hardyville is taking that to their council next week. So that'll finalize the payment for that situation for that project. And then we're also looking, there's 2 other additional midterm projects that are associated in the next step that we're seeing if there's some way that we can reach to those projects. So one being at Oldfield, we hear a lot of complaints about the intersection at Oldfield, getting out of that subdivision. And then one being to the south of the project limits at Del Webb and Seagrass Station. So we're taking a look at those and coordinating with Town of Bluffton and with Hardyville on those. So that's where we are, and gladly take any comments.
Questions? Craig?
Jared, on the 170 project, you said there's one intergovernmental agreement signed. In that agreement, did they mention how much money?
So, yeah, so there's $3 million is the short-term projects. The county, Beaufort County is $1.5 million, Jasper County is $1 million, and Hardyville is $500,000.
But Hardyville has not agreed yet?
Well, it's going to their council there. So far, it's been favorable discussion with their town staff.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you much.
Welcome.
I'm going to give you a little bit of lead in, Brian, for item D, status. I'm going to have the status of the resurfacing year 5 and change orders. And I'm going to give you a little bit of the background. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with what the term CMRB is. CMRB is cement modified repair base, and what basically happens is you go in and beat up the base. You put a combination of cement and water in with it, and it basically forms the base. You resurface over the top of it. And we had some roads which we've had issues with, and it turns out that, as I said in a letter that I sent out to you on April the 19th, April 19th letter talked about a change order. And up to now, up through years 1 through 4, we have used allowances for full depth repairs. And the allowances for full depth repairs were done as a means of pretty much estimated guesses of what is going to be needed. And typically the 10% has been more than adequate to cover the cost for doing such. Well, the combination of the full depth pavement repairs being greater than what was allocated, coupled with the fact that there's issues with getting cement. And the paving contractor came back and said, we would like for you to consider doing full depth, continue doing the full depth repairs, but also do a hot mix overlay rather than doing the CMRB. So with that, Brian, that's kind of help a little bit of a lead in for you, since this is fresh for you.
Yeah, so just on the good thing is, so far they have completed 2 of the SCDOT roads, Marshot and Pleasant Point, have completed paving on, and 5 of the county roads, Barberry, Cedar Crest, Forest Field, Shetland, and Quarter Horse, in the Forest Fields neighborhood have all been completed paving. But yeah, so the first part of this change order that you alluded to is CMRB, where they replaced it with a full depth patch, leveling, and overlay on it. Change order part B is for additional pavement markings that were going to be required by the SCDOT on their roads to bring it up to the current standards. Change order C was a reduction on Pavement, reducing it from a hot mix overlay to a microsurface. And then part D is for the additional full depth patching and leveling that you spoke to. So that's going to be the total contract of $2.2 million for a change order of $295,868.
Which it's the addition is only $63,000 in total. By the time you go with the ups and downs on it, it's a pavement addition 63, and included in that is additional pavement markings, which DOT is required after the fact. Makes sense? Hearing no discussion, do I have a motion to approve the change order? Say something, girl.
I'll make the motion. I thought he was going to make it. I'll make the motion to accept.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Do I hear discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. It's a challenge whenever you have paving, and a little bit of the background that's going on is that we established, as a committee, completing the DOT paving by 1 June. We have to have it done in this fiscal year to take credit for, to report to DOT that we've accomplished our 27.5% funding that we have to do on state routes. So that's the reason, rationale behind it all. We were pushing it, and that's why the note came out to you all. Mr. Richard Turner, look forward to hearing how you're coming along on state secondary less than 500 ADT. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you all. I'm Richard Turner and South Carolina Program Services Lead for AMT Engineering. Happy to be here. 2 months ago in March, I unfortunately wasn't able to make it for that meeting, but happy to be with you tonight. I've got a brief presentation to kind of talk through what we've done and some of the things that we've worked through and in the last couple of days actually, and kind of the next steps to complete this project and deliver a full report to you guys. So next slide, please. So to date, what we've completed, and what you see there on the screen is really the map, and it shows there downtown Beaufort. But we've completed all of our data collection thus far of all the roads, which included actually a pavement condition survey of each of the roads, as well as we looked at the development characteristics, or really what businesses, how many residents, or what was the importance of that road to the citizens that use and live on that road as well. And that's what we use to prioritize what would be the most important roads to complete first. So we've done that. We've completed a data analysis for that. But what we found while working through that is some of the data that we had received through the DOT didn't exactly line up. And so we worked through that, and we actually had a very good meeting yesterday with SCDOT, county staff. Michael Black with SCDOT was there with us. Chairman Gordon was there. And we were able to work through that, kind of talk through what was going on with the data, and then really confirm that here's our next steps. And so we're at a good spot there. And my next steps, which will be kind of the next slide, is our recommendations for treatment. And what we really came to the conclusion was, let's go with kind of what I'll say is kind of the bread and butter of things that we can do and really get our best bang for our buck for the low volume rural roads, which is what a lot of you see today as a chip seal road, or bituminous surface treatment roads, if you're familiar with that. Those are the roads that you see, kind of the tar and chip, probably the simplest way to put it, that you see in the rural communities. And so the best bang for the buck for there is really kind of doing the same thing, continuing that operation. And so that's our recommendation for those. There will be some that you may want to consider something bigger, but you could do the CMRV on some of these roads that are really in bad condition, but the cost per square foot is through the roof, especially now, which is why you're seeing the issues and the change order y'all just discussed. Beyond that, if you get into the more urban areas, then we start to look at other treatment types, which is your traditional dense graded asphalt with blacktop of a road, where you'll see a thin lift asphalt we could put on the good road. So, and that's really what I have written there is, let's treat our good roads, keep them in good condition while we work on that backlog of those roads that are failing. And so what we really found is there's not as many failing roads as you might expect. Next slide shows that.
Excuse me, sir, before
yes,
you,
sir,
on the back last slide,
yes.
What is the differential in the colors coding?
Okay, good point. So what I've highlighted here, so the full table is really a list of all of the different types of treatments that we could choose from. And then the green ones are the ones that we really discussed yesterday in our meeting, what we would recommend in moving forward with, as far as a recommendation for treatments on the low volume roads.
Okay, I want you to bring out the papers I've submitted to you several months ago and share it. I have some very serious concerns about scrub seal.
Okay.
Based upon South Carolina Department of Transportation studies in the lab and other Department of Transportation across the United States, that there's not a life cycle of 6 years, and alternative methods should be reviewed.
Okay.
What we found yesterday during our meeting with Michael Black, who is running District 6, he had already consulted with the materials lab, and they approved scrub seal. They very much approve scrub seal, and they are finding that they're getting, particularly with the low ADT. We're not talking about roads are greater than 500, but the small amount of traffic they're getting on them, they found that they've had a great deal of success with them, and they're getting a longer life cycle. And as you'll find on that, I think the life cycle is on there as well as
6 years.
So
all I ask is that my report that you requested of me be shared with the entire committee and the appropriate staff members.
Absolutely.
To challenge the 6 years.
Fair enough.
you share that with me, that would be great. I'd love to.
Absolutely.
As well. Right. Like I was,
While you're back there on that, why don't you describe what the scrub seal method is?
so scrub seal, let me ask you one quick question. Are you familiar with a chip seal? So a chip seal and a scrub seal are very closely the same. A chip seal, for those maybe not be familiar with it, essentially you're spraying an emulsion onto a road and then you're dropping chips on top of that and it gets embedded down into that or basically glued to the road. And so it creates kind of almost, if you could picture that, the emulsion kind of goes around each one of those small particles and keeps that glued to the road and creates that surface. SCDOT around 2005 started using a lightweight aggregate, which has a much darker look to it. It looks very similar to the hot mix asphalt plant mix road. And you do the same thing for a scrub seal, but the difference really is in the application of the emulsion. With a chip seal, you're spraying with a distributor and you move along the road. With the scrub seal, it's essentially the same. But what you're doing is you're dragging a set of brooms. You can imagine your old push broom, probably 8 to 10 of those that are staggered along the entire width of that asphalt distributor. It's pulling that and you create kind of a wave of that emulsion in front of those broom heads. And you're pulling that, and as you're pulling it, the broom's kind of, as it's dragging on the road, it works that emulsion down into the cracks of the road that are visible. So, and then we'll leave you with a residual asphalt emulsion on top, and then you would spread those same chips that you do with a conventional chip seal.
Lightweight aggregate. We hope to have, I was invited to go to Charleston County. They have been doing the lightweight aggregate and scrub seal. And through conversations with them, they've been very, very pleased with the results that they're getting with it. But in talking with the contractor, I asked the contractor if he would provide, they have, and I'll get the website and everything for you all and get it out to you. They have a website where you can go to it and you can look at all the different paving methods they use, whether you're doing micro resurfacing or any of the types that you're going to find on that list. They have videos that you can look and see how it's being performed. Now, they didn't have it on a month ago, and I haven't looked at it recently, and I'll make it a point to get with them and catch up to see if they have it on it, and then I'll provide you the website for you to check it out to see the techniques, because they do have micro resurfacing and all sorts of the things that you have on there that they specialize in doing. But Charleston County has had very, very good success with it so far.
Are the local subs that do that work?
No. It's a specialty.
So you get them once a year, so when they come through.
What Pavement? What's the company? We're actually using them to do our,
There's not a local chip seal.
no, the company's out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think Pavement Technology, I think.
I know who you're referencing that.
Slurry pavers, maybe?
What is it?
The slurry pavers?
Yes, slurry pavers.
They did the scrub seal
Yep.
for Charleston County.
Right.
And they do microsurfacing as well.
The thing that to take from this is the cost wise, we're looking at 40 cents to do scrub seal, and I don't have a camera in front of me or screen in front of me. It's 40 cents, I think, per square yard, square foot to do scrub seal. And it gets up in cost real fast to $1.25, $1.50 for the same area. And if we're doing this every 6 years, and some of them are providing much greater lifespan, why spend the extra dollars? That becomes the question. We have fiduciary responsibility to spend the money as wisely as we possibly can. But it's also, bear one thing in mind. We don't have the say on what's going to be done on the streets. We don't have the say. It is DOT because they are their streets, not ours.
Are your prices fairly recent prices.
They want to say there's some that may need to be tweaked, and I'm working with Brian now on that. He's provided me some updates on some of those. Some of those I was able to utilize. I use my contact at Charleston County to be able to get some of their latest prices as well. So that'll be part of my next steps of doing some more comparison, but they should be in the ballpark.
For lack of a better term, I'm going to say Richard previously worked for Charleston County. So you're director of engineering?
I was deputy director of public works.
There you go. Okay, I'm not stopping you. Please go on.
Any other questions on the table before we?
I mean, just so I understand the distinction between the scrub seal and chip seal, I think as you describe it, scrub seal kind of adds some mechanical action of the brooms pushing the emulsion down into the cracks. Is that
Exactly. And instead of spraying over the top of them, like I said, it has that mechanical action to work it into those cracks.
And because of that, you get a better adherence down. You're filling the cracks. You're doing the same as a fog seal at the same time. So you're accomplishing a couple of different items by doing scrub seal.
Thank you.
So the next steps really are really finalizing the project and providing the deliverables to you all. So I will be working on developing the maintenance and preservation recommendations, which you've seen some of those today, but those are individual to each of the roads, which that'll be what I provide to you, including a 5-year maintenance plan. And really also what I will focus on in that report will be what impact does this have on this small part of the network? You know, what's the best bang for your buck? And so I will estimate the impact of using these treatment types and what that 5-year, based on the constraints of the fiscally constrained budget that you have there for that 5-year plan. So that'll be part of the report so that'll tell you exactly what we expect to see out of it long term. Really kind of give you a little bit more detail than what I have there, with 89% of your system is in fair to good condition, fair or better condition, and then around 11% is really where you would expect to do the full depth reclamation or some of the larger, heavier, more costly treatment types.
Bear in mind one thing, we are the only county out of the 46 that has a program going in place like this. The only out of the 46 counties. The other thing we discussed yesterday, grouping it, all 5 of us plus the guys from DOT, we talked about is it was projected that the state legislature, when they pass the budget, will pass a budget, and it was the same in both the House and the Senate, that they were going to provide $250 million to the CTCs. Now, they're going to provide $250 million. The catch is they want what they divide up to go into low ADT routes, which what we're working on. And so the thought process was yesterday, as we were discussing this, that we're not going to get our portion out of that. I think was $5.2 million, round numbers, something that. And I went to Joe Sturm and I said, Joe, there's no way that the county CTC can gobble up $5.2 million in 1 year. I mean, the cost to go through the ceiling per square foot to have the work done and everything else. I hope you're going to spread this out like over a 2 or 3 or 4 year period. To which he says, that's a great idea. I don't have that done yet. We're still working with the House and the Senate. What we discussed yesterday was using the techniques on roads, which is, you're looking up there that says 89% fair or better, which goes back to the ratings of 3 or better on the scale 5. And what that is pavement preservation. So the pavement preservation types that you see listed on that list that he provided are the types of pavement things we'll be doing to extend the life of a road. What we consider is 11% that is poor to very poor is when we get the dollars from the budget, that we would use those dollars because of the more serious costs. We're talking $2 or more per square foot to make some of the repairs we're talking about on the roads. he's still analyzing this at this point in time. So, but that is to give you kind of the warm up of what's going on behind the scenes and where we're headed with things. Questions, comments? You must have done a great job, Richard.
Oh, that's the end of it?
The only last, I think the last one is questions. So
Okay.
that-
When are you going to give us the information?
But I will be working through that and to provide a report in June.
Okay.
Now, I think the next meeting, CTC meeting is July.
Correct.
And I'd be happy to come back in July and provide a final presentation if that makes sense.
That's what's planned. Okay,
Thank
thanks
you.
so much. Brittany, make was that in our slides?
No, I can email that out to everyone.
Please do. Okay, new business. I dialed up Sopperton Drive. I did it quite intentionally. And when I went to officer candidate school, they'd run us all night long and everything else. They'd stomp on the floor to wake us up because they would say this is going to be a test question. Well, we had a test question come up. Andrea was working on Sopperton Drive. It's in our paving program for this year for work to be done on it. And she says, gives me a call and she says, we have a section that's about, for round numbers, 250 to 300 feet wide that it's in really bad shape. And I said, really? And I said, well, who owns it? And she says, the Public Utility Commission of South Carolina. Well, now, what do you think we should do with that? The answer is very clear. It's illegal for us to do anything on it. It's not county owned, it's not state owned, it's a private utility. They own it, it's their responsibility to maintain it. And we cannot use our money to do the paving on it. We do not pass go, we would go to jail, and I'm not going to jail anytime soon for that. And I said to her, I said, not only no, but heck no, we're not going to pave it. And I think it's going to be handled in other ways at this point in time, if I'm correct. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a play on what's going on with it. Any questions?
It's inside the city limits of Bluffton?
It is, yes, it is, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's right on the line, actually.
And the city of Bluffton knows about this problem?
So
I think we should share that with the city of Bluffton, let them just know about this, the decision we made, or you made.
Be glad to do that.
Yeah.
It was an easy decision.
Yeah.
The state statute prohibits it.
Yeah.
Who's the company that owns it? Public Utilities Company, South Carolina. It's the main transmission lines going towards Hilton Head. It's the, what's the major? No. What's the major power generator?
Dominion?
No.
Well, it used to be
What is it?
SCE.
Santee Cooper, thank you. Santee Cooper.
So it's owned by Santee Cooper?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
it's their power line.
Actually, talk to Dean Moss, because in his former days, he had to do all kinds of dealings with all kinds of, and he might have some.
What's going on behind the scenes is Patty is working on it with the real estate, talking with them, trying to get it a grant, or not a grant, but an approval for them in one way or another. And I think the dollar amount is like $25,000, and it probably would come out of dirt road paving or something like that,
Yeah.
tag fund paving,
We're working on an encroachment permit and that'll be funded out of tag fee.
tag funds. I think it was like $25,000. Okay, Stephanie, you're up, long range transportation plan. I'll copy you off the letter to Bluffton.
last time I was here, I think it was March, and I did a PowerPoint presentation on the plan update, just to update where we are now. We had the plan adopted on Friday, May 13th, but everything went well and no bad luck. So just a refresher for those of you who may not have been at the last meeting or the plan is the 20-year long-range transportation plan for the urbanized area for Jasper and Beaufort County. It's something that is required by federal highways that we update this every 5 years, and it has a 20-year horizon. Any projects going on using federal funds have to be included within this plan before they can go and get programmed into the STIP and move on forward with funding. So just an overview of what's in the plan. We have some background chapters, including like social demographics and environmental resources. Then we go right into the transportation stuff. We have a roadway chapter that's pretty extensive. If you haven't had a chance to look at that, we have a chapter on safety, bicycle, pedestrian, facilities, public transportation, freight. And then the most important piece to everybody is the financial chapter with the implementation plan. So the financial chapter, we are required to have a fiscally constrained project list. The project list, we are focusing on the federal guide share that we get to this region, and it's approximately $144 million over the life of the plan. It's not really a lot of money in the big picture. So we have those projects that came to us. We had created a recommendation list and then prioritized those with Act 114. I talked about it at the last meeting, but I can get that information to you if you like. But there's various criteria within that state law that we have to follow to prioritize those recommended projects. And those are programmed into that financial plan. We also came up with another financial plan or financial scenario that's sort of an unofficial version to kind of take a picture of what would it look like if we had the sales tax. So we took a look at what Jasper County has in play in their area, and then if we were to get the 1% sales tax here in our county, and what kind of projects, based on the recommendations we had in our process, how many of those projects would get funded. I think we had a deficit in the official scenario of $3.6 billion, and the deficit in the unofficial scenario is closer to $1 billion. So maybe close that gap a little bit. There's still a lot of projects just to be done, I think, in the region itself. I don't have the official final version posted on my website yet. We're still waiting. I'm expecting to get that by the end of the month. But you can still review the draft if you like, or if you have any questions, I can kind of give you some information on how the final version will look if you're in a hurry. But we did receive about 150 comments on that through the 30-day plus public comment period. Comments kind of ranged from editorial in nature to more nuances in some of the chapters. So it's more narrative information being included and clarifications in the mapping. There were some projects that we did have specific conversations with Bluffton and Hilton Head to, they didn't felt the character of the town. So we had some of those projects actually taken out that were in the original plan. So that may have shrunk the deficit a little bit, but not too much. That should be available again, like I said, by the end of the month, and I'll work with Craig to let you all know when it is available to see the final version.
Very much appreciate your presentation. I know how much hard work went into it, and I know what a good job Kimberly Horn did putting this together. In the original comments, the first grouping of, you got what, 800 comments?
Oh, so the public, we did do it, sorry, I skipped over a lot of the background stuff, but we did do a public survey back when we first started the process. So we started this about this time last year.
Right.
And we did a survey for about 8 weeks. We got 800 respondents to the survey and about 12,000 data points of people putting their input on maps or just comments, different types of input that way. So.
It was quite surprising, the public involvement, and it's great that the public involvement heard. We've asked you to make comments before on it and so on, but it's been a big step, and it is because LATS is a MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, getting federal highway dollars. It's a requirement. Jenny did it for a long time. It's quite a laborious process, but this was one for 2045. So again, trying to keep you all in the loop of things that's going on in the area and Lats in particular. So appreciate you being here. Questions? Craig?
Did I hear you say that the long-range plan for 2022 to 2042 was adopted by the board last Friday? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, the plan through 2045.
Okay, so the next update is 2027?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any major projects that were added to the new long-range plan? And were there any projects in the long-range plan, the previous long-range plan, that were, quote, deleted?
170 was added. That's one I'm pretty sure. Jared, you've been involved with the listing too.
I can't recall what was on the old one versus the new.
170 I know wasn't.
I'm sure there were some of both, but I don't know the specifics.
And the previous plan was pretty dominated by the funding that we had available was dominated by US 17.
Right.
So
That's one of the reasons I'm asking. I'm trying to figure out were there any, quote, major capacity adding project other than US 17?
And the new one there is. And the new one we actually just, because we've been paying, we borrowed forward. That's the right way to put it. We borrowed ahead of ourselves. We are just now in the first year, 2020, our fiscal year 2022, where we have been accumulating our dollars again.
I
And
think
that's actually 5 years early. I'm sorry, Greg.
I think the other thing that plays into this, if you look at the stip and tip from the past and how much has been added, Jared added, goodness gracious, many projects to it, which had never been on it before. So it's grown sizably in that regard. 17 sucked up, Jenny was there, 17 sucked up about everything.
Well, that's why we didn't have, when we did the original long-range transportation plan, we literally had no money to spend because both the LATS group and then the rural area that Elcon covers donated literally under some threat of, no, not threat. We were encouraged strongly to donate all of our money that we would get from basically the federal government every year until we hit the total amount that was needed to widen US 17 to the Georgia border. And that meant for 6 years, we could only do, there were projects being done, but we had no money to contribute and no money to undertake our own projects. But the nice thing is we can't, meaning this whole area can be proud that we, the citizens, taxpayers of this region have, and this includes Hampton County and Colleton County, have paid for the widening of US 17 ourselves.
Correct.
So we're not beholden to anybody. But I was also just going to make another point, adding to, Craig's concerns. But it was quite interesting as we were working on our projects on the committee, that did the presentation, the Citizens Advisory Committee, I guess it was called, Transportation Advisory Committee. Toward the end, more and more people, including Craig and Dean and so on, would say, well, where is that in LATS? Is that a high priority? So we were already using their recommendations to make recommendations to Beaufort County Council. So it's not just a document that gets shoved away. It's actually used to go ahead.
You mentioned that you had an exercise to look at what if we had additional funding. And I believe you specifically mentioned the possible 1 cent sales tax. Are those projects identified in the plan in the illustrative projects perhaps? Are
Is there a list in the plan of those particular projects?
Yes, but that would, the majority of those are beyond the guide share, so they would be illustrative.
Okay. If the sales tax comes into being and this list of projects illustrative wherever in the long range plan, for them to proceed, would they have to be amended into the constrained plan?
Technically, local funds don't necessarily have to be in the same planning process. It's a good idea if it's a very large project and you ever want to see federal funding potentially added to it or it being
Yes.
listed.
So to me, you always err on the side of caution.
Right.
So all I'm asking you, if the sales tax passes, it would likely be prudent to add those into the long-range plan before action could be undertaken.
Yeah, and they will be in the appendix in the vision, unless there's something that we didn't foresee or didn't
Then
have in our recommendation.
they'd be on the tip list too, as
Right,
you got into implementation.
Yeah,
So they can have a legal status.
They're on the tip and skip.
Thank you.
I have one question to ask. I don't know if this belongs here or not. Warsaw Road, it's a causeway.
You waited a long time to bring that up tonight.
Anyway,
Getting very specific. I don't have my project list with me with every road, so I'd have to go and look and see.
no, it's a causeway that's overflow at high tide. They had about 2 years ago, Elizabeth and them came and they elevated, a couple inches. And then I was told to keep an eye on it. And if it overflow that, they'll come and raise it up again. Well, when I brought it up, they said, we need some money. So these people are on this island. And the only way they can get off this island is off this causeway. And I would like, I don't know where it goes, how it goes, but I'd like for somewhere along the line, even if it's a year, 2 years, that this thing gets so I can elevate it a little bit more.
I'm gonna turn that into Jared. Say, Jared, how about looking into that?
So I can tell you where we are looking into that. So that would fit in sales tax. As I mentioned, we have specific projects and program projects. One of the programs is resiliency. So that specific issue, and I believe that even specific road was mentioned in the Transportation Advisory Committee. So there's $20 million in the proposed sales tax from the recommendation that would fit towards resiliency and address issues like that across the county. $20 million and the number of roads that we have like that in the county won't address them all. So that'll be a good springboard for us to attract other funding to help in situations like that, should the sales tax prove successful. So the best way is to go tell all your folks that live in the area to vote for the sales tax, because that is really, at this moment, that's the best source of funding for that specific need.
Where they buy boats.
They used to do that.
No, they don't do that.
They don't do that anymore.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, certificate of appreciation for Andrea. I thought it was really very much appreciated, all the things that she's done when I asked to have this sent to her. And I wrote a small note to her rather than, I thought, and I'm speaking for the committee when I say this. Andrea, a special thanks to you for all that you have done for the CTC to make our program successful. Furthermore, the successful treating of our road network to provide a better lifestyle was your hallmark for us. God bless you in your new endeavors and life ahead. Simon Ainge and Chairman Beaufort CTC and our members. So we very much appreciate the hard work she's done for us. Okay, I'm not doing very good tonight, getting this done in an hour. But treasurer's report's up next, Mr. Backer.
No specific high-level takeaways at this point. Revenues have been updated through March. And it's clear that we are in a good position for having adequate funds to fund the projects that are on the books. Brittany, I don't know if you have anything.
Yeah, we're just, as we're moving through our road research year 5, just making sure that we can get final payment at the end of the fiscal year. If not, just be aware that we will need to cut a check directly to a project, to SCDOT to cover that need.
Right.
And anything that we pay after the fiscal year, we're going to cut next year's credit.
We should make it right now with the contractors, the way they're scheduled. They were supposed to be done by 1 June, which gives us a 30-day buffer to protect us to make certain we hit our 27.5%. Plus, we had more than enough money in our account, and as I said the last meeting, I give this committee a great deal of credit. Not only do we have a $500,000 reserve that we've maintained for years for emergencies and so on. We're financially sound, where a lot of other counties in the state were having issues with being able to fund their projects. So you all get a lot of credit for that. Any questions on the treasurer's report?
Just one comment on the previous. Andrea has sent me a text message. She is watching. She says, "Thank you. That was very nice. It was her pleasure."
Okay. Public comments? Seeing and hearing none. I wanted to thank Jenny and Craig for the time they spent on the committee work. That's very much appreciated. You were great representatives for us. Appreciate everybody being here. We were able to get our seats full today and everybody being present. So, and we're missing one. But my understanding is that there's 2 candidates being reviewed for that position. So with that, seeing no further business to come before us, I hereby adjourn the meeting.